Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you just for a short video really, as promised yesterday, to discuss the Raul Sanllehi exit, why it happened, the direction that Arsenal could be heading in now, now that Sanllehi has gone. I mean, it certainly came as a shock. The announcement obviously came on Saturday. I was off, so I haven't really had the opportunity to talk about it to you guys yet and sort of explain my thoughts behind it and what I've heard from Arsenal about why it's happened. So this is my opportunity to do that. Like I said, there was some rumours started to emerge on social media on Friday, and then the news came on Saturday. Arsenal putting it out in a very sort of abruptly titled club update story on the website that Sanllehi had indeed left, and that Vinai Venkatesham would be taking charge really as managing director. Pretty much a role he was doing beforehand anyway, in conjunction with Sanllehi. He was obviously focused on more football matters as head of football, but now just Venkatesham is going to be the sort of man in charge, which everyone reports to, and then he takes that to the board. So just a little bit about Sanllehi's departure. Obviously there's lots of rumour and speculation about Raul and his dealings and why exactly Arsenal have made this decision. Now, as far as I've been told, this has nothing to do with the relationships with agents. We all know who he's very close to and the dealings that he's had with certain agents and players that have come in. We've seen Willian, David Luiz recently, both obviously Kia Drabchin agents. We know that Raul is very close to Kia, and Willian's signing pictures, according to a report of The Athletic over the weekend, were even taken at Kia's house because obviously wasn't quite allowed in Colney yet with the whole COVID restrictions that are in place, which is obviously a sign again of the close proximity to Kia Drabchin. But Arsenal are at pains to say this decision has not been taken as a result of any of the speculation regarding Raul's relationship with agents or any transfer dealings, any particular transfer dealing that Arsenal have had involving a player in the recent couple of years when Sanllehi has been at the club. That this is in fact a decision that's been taken purely so the club can be more effective and more efficient going forward. And I think the key figure in all this is Tim Lewis. He's a man who's been brought in by Stan Kroenke in the last sort of 6 weeks. He was appointed at the start of July onto the board, a new appointment to the board. He's a partner at a law firm who has had lots of dealings with Stan Kroenke. He's advising him during his takeover, and he's now got a place on the board. And he was brought in and has been undertaking a big review on the club, looking at all aspects of the clubs, from transfer dealings, from all aspects of expenditure, where money's going, how much is being spent, how that can be streamlined, how it can be more, how the club can spend its money much more effectively. And this has all been done obviously due to the COVID era and the massive financial implications that have been placed on the club. So Tim Lewis has undertaken this review, and the first step of that was the big news of the 55 proposed redundancies that obviously emerged not so long ago. Awful lot of controversy caused about that. That is a process that's still ongoing, and now we've moved to the step where Raul Sanllehi, arguably the most powerful figure at the club, certainly in England, has now left. And Arsenal are saying that departure is purely down to trying to move forward in the most efficient and cost-effective way as possible. And as I said at the start, and reiterate, they are saying it's not due to relationships with agents or any particular dealings that he's had. We've all heard the rumours and speculation. Obviously, it's come out of blue, and I've been told from sources at the club that Raul certainly was shocked by the news, wasn't expecting it. It's come out of blue. Look, we're only 3 weeks into the transfer window, and he is the guy effectively who's been running Arsenal's transfer business. So for Arsenal to make this move now, it's very, very sudden, and I'm not surprised that he's shocked. It's caught us all by surprise. But they feel it's something they've had to do, and they've had to do now. You can probably put two and two together with that, and although a lot of the noise is coming out of the club, it is all about efficiency. I mean, you've got to think the fact it's happened so abruptly, and it's happened right in the middle of the transfer window, that Arsenal feel it's something they've got to do and had to do to make sure the club runs as smoothly as possible. Now, it's a big opportunity for Edu. He's obviously a technical director at Arsenal. He's been here for over a year now. He's kind of operated under the spotlight, really, because you've had Raul in that position who's been kind of running the transfer business, really, certainly in terms of getting the deals done and talking. He's been using his contacts with his agents. You only have to look at the signings that have come in. We've talked about Kia Drabchin, but Arturo Canales, again, another prominent agent that Raul has close dealings with. Pablo Mari is one of his players. Unai Emery was a Canales client as well, and Sanllehi was obviously very, very influential in Emery getting the position as Arsenal head coach. Dreadful appointment that was. But I'm not going to get into that. I've already had my say on Unai Emery. So now Edu's going to have certainly a much more prominent role. He has been very busy since he's come in. He's undertaken some really big reviews, both at academy level and at senior level in terms of recruitment, and made some big, big changes after those reviews. We've seen with Francis Cagiel a very high-profile departure in recent weeks, which has been due to the review carried out by Edu in the senior recruitment level and the scouting network, which has been pretty much ripped up after that review by Edu. So he has been very, very busy, but now he's going to have certainly a much more hands-on role at the very front line of Arsenal's recruitment business alongside Mikel Arteta. Those two will work very much in tandem on the technical side of things at Arsenal, as they have been doing, but without Raul, that extra sort of layer of Raul above them. They can now take their findings, their squad planning, their the work they've done. Arteta will be very much focused on the short term, what he needs now, what he wants now, how the team can be best served going forward throughout this season, while Edu, as well as working on that, will be focused on the long term, the medium to long term strategies about what players we can identify, who we can bring in maybe next window, the following window, who we need to keep an eye on. Going forward, top talent that's been identified that he can keep an eye on and try and bring to the club, such as Gabriel Martinelli a year ago. So that's how Arsenal are very much going to operate now. It's going to be the Edu and Mikel Arteta show on the technical side of things, alongside Hoost Farmy, who is the director of football operations at Arsenal. He's come in, he's had that role since Raul and Vinay were given their promotion a couple of years ago. He was brought in, he was a legal expert brought in from Team Sky 3 years ago. He's kind of known as the contract negotiator at Arsenal, but he does an awful lot more than that. He's involved in deals. He was very heavily involved in the William Saliba deal last summer, and he's going to have much more part to play alongside Edu and Mikel now with the technical side of things. And we'll be taking their findings to Vinay, who's obviously the managing director, and then Vinay will be that bridge to the Cronkies. He's on the board. He'll be the bridge to the Cronkies in terms of this is what we want to do. These are the players we've identified. What is the budget? What can we work towards? Which player can we bring into that budget to fit that budget? So that's kind of how Arsenal is going to go. And Raul was very much the deal maker at Arsenal. Edu and Mikel have always operated in the technical side of things, but Raul was a deal maker. Hoost Farmy will now be very influential in that, in terms of being the deal maker and trying to get the contracts done, sorted out. Edu will certainly be talking to the clubs. Mikel Arteta will be having his say as well. There's been a lot of talk that Arsenal are now moving back towards almost where they were before during the Wenger era, and is Mikel Arteta now going to be a manager rather than a head coach? Arsenal saying no, he's still very much a head coach, but he does operate in that manager speak. Really, he's so influential, he's so focused on what he wants in all aspects of the club. But Arsenal are very much saying that he's still head coach. Fundamentally, Edu and Mikel are the technical experts. They're deciding the type of players that they want. Hoost will help them develop that plan, and then Vinay and the sort of financial team at the club will be saying, okay, you've identified these left backs. This is the budget that we've been given by the Cronkies. This is what you're going to have to work with. So that's the kind of bridge that Arsenal are going to have. That is the team going forward. Now that Raul has gone. From what I've been told, from what Arsenal are telling me, they're very confident that Raul's exit this early on in a transfer window is not going to have a big impact on the dealings that they're already trying to do. Obviously, get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's contract, bringing Gabriel in from Lille, a player that Arsenal absolutely desperately want to sign. There's been reports just before I started this video that Arsenal have agreed a deal with Lille to sign him. Now, at the moment, I'm told still that's not the case, but I know for well that Arsenal are very busy trying to get that deal done for Gabriel, and as I stated yesterday, the next couple of days are going to be very, very key for that. In terms of Aubameyang, that deal's pretty much done. He's on holiday in Italy at the moment. We're just basically waiting for when he comes back, and they can get the big promo videos, interviews, all that sort of thing done. You know, that deal has by all but a signature been agreed, but we're just waiting for Orba to come back from holiday when the green light can be totally given and the fanfare can start and Arsenal can put out what they want on social media, the big interviews, the big pictures, everything that goes with this, because this is such a big deal for Arsenal. So the Sanllehi exit, I'm told, is absolutely not going to impact that. You know, we've got Thomas Partey as well that Arsenal are desperately trying to sign and have been for a long, long time. Those sort of negotiations will continue, as I said, with Edu certainly leading them, and then Husfarmi as well, working alongside him. We're trying to get those deals done, and then once the player, if Arsenal do get permission to talk to a player, then Husfarmi will sort of leap into action and try and get those contracts done, as he did with William Saliba, as I spoke last week. So I don't think, for me, Raul leaving is not some major thing. Obviously, this time last year, he was the hero. He was Don Raul. I remember being up at Anfield before I think it was 3-1 defeat Arsenal had, his third game of the season up there, and I saw Raul get out of his car and walk to the stadium, and he was mobbed by Arsenal fans. They were all celebrating. You know, he's the guy who's finally spent the money. He signed Pepe. You know, Liverpool fans were all a bit shocked. They're like, who is this guy that Arsenal fans are all desperate to get selfies with? And you know, he was a bit of a hero back then, but his star's certainly fallen since then. That sort of excitement and buzz that was generated by last season's summer's transfer window has been replaced by a sense of suspicion, really, and speculation, again with the whole agents relationship, and there was a lot of concern, certainly amongst large swathes of the fan base, about whether that should be the way Arsenal are operating. And so I don't think Raul's exit is going to be, I don't think it's such a massive thing. I think, in fact, it's probably a good thing for Arsenal in terms of how they operate, how they're perceived. And it just now depends on Edu. A lot of pressure's on Edu. You know, as I said earlier, the spotlight falls on him now. This is his time to really show what he's made of. We haven't really seen that yet, certainly in terms of the front line. You know, where he's at Brazil, he's very successful. He was in a more administrative role. Now he's very much the technical director. He's the man who needs to go out and get these deals, get players over the line. And so a lot of pressure is going to fall on Edu, and we'll have to see if he's up for the job. He certainly was as a player, so now we'll have to wait and see if he was as a technical director. So that's about it from me. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will be back with videos as I can, updating what I know about the transfer window, and I'll try and get a Q&A done as well. So please keep an eye on my Twitter account @Charles_Watts and reply with any questions you may have. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.